All right, so we are back on the Way Concept presented by the Ring Magazine. Breaking, this just happened. Moses Itauma just showed the heavyweight division that the future is not on the way. The future is right now. Nasty first round knockout of Dillian Whyte. And I don't even hate to say it because this is not some big time pick by me. This is not some spoiler alert moment for me, but Moses Itauma is the real deal. And I told you this was going to happen, so we have to break it down. What just happened? Moses Itauma showed the world that the future of the heavyweight division is right now. The breakdown, let's go. Folks, we just watched 20-year-old Moses Itauma make light work, short work, easy work of Dillian Whyte, a man that had gone toe-to-toe with some of the best in the heavyweight division. Now, before we do anything else, what I don't want this video to be is a glorification of something that isn't a reality. Was Dillian Whyte in his prime in this fight? No. Was he the best version of himself? Probably not. But you know what? He was in great shape. He was a bigger step up than Moses Itauma had ever faced in his career. Remind you guys, the kid only has now 13 fights. And this was supposed to be somewhat of a test for Moses Itauma. This is supposed to tell us where he was in the pantheon of heavyweight and what you can do with him next. If he is going to struggle with guys like Dillian Whyte, you can't fast track him to a world title. If he goes out and does what he did, which is absolutely beat the brakes off Dillian Whyte, demolish him, and make it look like they should have never been in the ring together, then you have to fast track him to a world title. You have to have him fighting the best in the world. Whether it's Parker or Cabiel, whoever's not fighting Usyk next, whether it's a returning Anthony Joshua, we'll talk about that in a second. Whether it's a Tyson Fury, no one's probably going to want to take that risk right now because of their legacies, because of what's set in stone. So you're probably going to have to give him some younger, hungry heavyweights, like I said, a Parker or a Cabiel. But I'm telling you right now, it is not a matter of if, but when that kid gets to a world title, because dog, he's out here making this look easy. He is playing heavyweight boxing on easy mode right now. And it's not because he's boosting the sliders. It's because the competition just is not there for him. They tried to give him a step up with Dillian Whyte, and he made it look like a walk in the park. Let's talk about the fight. They both walked out. By the way, Styles P on the walkout for Moses Itauma, him as the voiceover saying, the future isn't coming, the future is here, the future is now. That's some big fucking balls. I'm talking two grapefruits hanging in your shorts to walk out to your own voiceover saying you are the future and the future's now. And then boom, Styles P hits and you're in the ring. Confidence, swagger, that's what I'm talking about. It was a good atmosphere. It was a cool, like it felt like a big fight, at least watching here at home. And then the fight started and very quickly, the fight started and ended quicker than the walkouts to come to the ring. But very quickly you realized that Dillian Whyte was so far in over his head with this young 20-year-old that it wasn't going to take long. Just the feints, the jab, again, the movement. You saw him feint and then touch him with a jab early, and it was like Dillian Whyte was even just having trouble seeing the shot. Like reacting to it wasn't even a thought. It was like, oh, I didn't even see that, let alone react to it. And it was just the jab. So then when the power punches started and Itauma started throwing hooks around the guard, you started to see Dillian stumble around, and even a jab at one point wobbled him. And then eventually he just flurried on him, sent him to the canvas after hurting him a couple different times. Again, this isn't a matter of the first minute and a half to 2 minutes of the fight. Dillian is on Bambi legs. He is walking on eggshells. He is ice skating uphill. I mean, whatever analogy you want to give, the man's body wasn't responding to what his brain was commanding him to do, or maybe not do. I don't know. At that point, the referee had seen enough, and I thought it was a good stoppage. I saw Dillian like protesting it in the corner, but let's be honest, it was over. It was only going to get worse from there because it had only gotten worse from the opening bell. Like he had not done a single thing offensively to Moses Itauma. Moses Itauma was so definitively better that it didn't even look like they belonged in the ring together. I'm going to be honest, but I don't put that down to a matchmaking error because this was the step up. This was the thing to put Moses Itauma in a position to say, like I said earlier, the way you perform here is how we know where to put you next. It wasn't like he was getting a can or somebody that had not been successful at heavyweight. We're talking about Dillian Whyte, who had, he has a win over Joseph Parker, right? He has a win over Hrgovic. These are guys that Hrgovic just fought on this card. These are guys that are top-level guys, or at least are known as top-level guys at the heavyweight division. So, bar putting him in a world title fight right now, which I think is, before this fight, I thought was a little too soon. Now that I'm watching it, again, I don't want to get too crazy because he is 20 years old, and I don't want to see a Fernando Vargas situation where you shove him to the front really quickly and it damages his career. But what else can you do now? You have to put him in those type of fights. Win one more or win two more and you're at a world title. I said this when Alexander Usyk beat Daniel Dubois. I said, I don't know that there's another guy in the heavyweight division right now that can beat Usyk, but in a year and a half, there may be a guy. And I was talking about Moses Itauma. These glasses, they work pretty good. And when I say he passes the eye test, it's generational. It's not like, here's our next champion. This could be the next champion when he wins it for years. Outside of a guy like Alexander Usyk, I don't see a guy like him anywhere in the world right now. The way he moves, his feints, how quick he is, the accuracy of his punches, the timing, what he's looking for, how he executes. I heard him in the post-fight press conference say, my coach, his coach is Ben Davidson, who, by the way, has worked with some of the best heavyweights in the world, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. He was like, Ben was telling me what the opening would be, and I had a little pre-fight, and I had some, main event fight jitters, and then I found it. Like, I could see it, but then I had to calm myself down and find it. And he's talking about that within the likes of a minute and a half. Imagine there's no pre-fight jitters. He wins this fight in 30 seconds. It's insane. But yeah, even on the mic afterward, he was like, listen, if I get the opportunity, I'll be a world champ in 2026. And I believe him. I don't think that's bravado. I don't think he's being too cocky. I don't even think it's brash. I think it's just honest. Because, again, there are guys that are going to test him, and we still don't have the answer of what happens when the fire's coming back, and that's going to be the biggest question until it happens that we have about a young prospect. Every boxing prospect goes through that. But everything else across the board is a check mark. Maybe the only other thing I can think of is gas tank that I haven't seen from him. But outside of that, precision, power, everything. He has it, man. So the question becomes, what do you do with him next? Again, he talked in the ring about, whoever doesn't get Usyk next, he wants, whether that's Cabiel, whether that's Joseph Parker. And either of those guys are a good matchup for him. And again, that thing we keep asking for is the big test. The big test that we're going to find for Moses Itauma. Who's going to fire back? Who's going to have the ability to stay in there with him? Who's going to be able to push him to a level we haven't seen yet? And that may even make him more dangerous, right? And it probably will when that happens. But think about all the advantages he has right now. Think about all the things he's set up for, the success he is set up for right now. The fact that he's only 20 years old, the fact that he just starched a heavyweight mainstay. You want to call Dillian Whyte a gatekeeper? Okay, fine. But Moses Itauma just beat him at 20 years old. It didn't take until he was 22, 23, 24, 25, 20 years old. In the U.S., the guy wouldn't even be able to drink alcohol yet. And he is on a trajectory not quite the same as a Mike Tyson because of the output Mike had at certain points in his career, but similar. He's close to a world title before the age of 21. And if he gets his hands on it at 21, he might not give it up for a very long time. Again, don't want to get ahead of myself. But matchups-wise, I talked about Ben Davidson earlier. I talked about Anthony Joshua earlier. Talked about Tyson Fury earlier. Talked about a lot of the guys that he's been around. Ben Davidson coached Tyson Fury after, he went into retirement and came back to fight Deontay Wilder. Coached Anthony Joshua as well. You don't think that he knows a little bit about what works against those guys and how the next generation of heavyweight can implement that into his game? Something to think about. Now, again, I don't think either of those. You know what? I think Anthony Joshua, because I think Anthony Joshua might fight Jake Paul next. And Jake is nowhere near as dangerous as Moses Itauma. My point is, it doesn't feel like Anthony Joshua has too much of an ego to say, no, I don't want to take that. Like, I don't look at Anthony Joshua as a guy that says no when there's a potential either big money fight, big time matchup, or something to challenge himself. And let me tell you something. Moses Itauma is going to beat Anthony Joshua if they fight. I'm putting that out there. But the point is, that would be something I would love to see. Do it in the UK, fill up Wembley. I'd be down for that. Don't know if that's going to happen. Don't think that's in the cards for him right now. But Tyson Fury, forget about it. No shot. No way. Cabiel, potentially, because I don't think that Usyk's going to fight him next. And the winner of that clearly is set up to fight Alexander Usyk for the World Championship. Joseph Parker, I don't really see a reason they would do that with Parker being a mandatory and being right there ready. But who knows? Turki Al-Sheikh has said he thinks Moses Itauma versus Usyk should happen right now. I don't know if that's necessarily the case just yet, which is why I'm like, don't rush him too much just yet. But again, you can't move backward now after a performance like that versus Dillian Whyte. So yeah, I mean, who knows? They have Hrgovic sitting there as well. He just picked up a big win. Dave Allen, that would be fucking fireworks. But again, I don't know. I think Moses is on that trajectory where he is just, and some of these other guys are moving up, but it's not the rocket ship on his back like Moses has. So what a performance, though, man. What a performance. What a message to the rest of the heavyweight division, to the world. And it was perfect because his Jumbotron said it, and it was the best message that he could have delivered, not only with the voiceover in the walkout, but in the ring, that the future is not coming. The future is here right now. Love the way that Frank and Queensberry are building this kid. Love the confidence. Again, Frank's got a roster of killers over there. But man, what a performance from Moses Itauma. And for Dillian Whyte, yeah, you know, I hate to do the thing in retrospect where we go, wow, he really was done for. But it's clear now that at the top level, he's not there. And he got himself in really good shape, and this was a test, and it was a position for, you know, him to not let the youngster come up yet. It happens all the time in combat sports. The veteran versus the youngster. Is the veteran going to keep his position and show he's still world class, or is the youngster going to escort him out of the building and out of the sport in the way of saying, listen, your time is up. My time is now, John Cena style. That's what happened tonight, but Dillian worked his ass off in camp, so all respect to him. Moses is just a buzzsaw, and he just cut through Dillian Whyte like a hot knife through butter. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments below. Massive, massive win for Moses Itauma. Massive, fantastic performance and absolute destruction. What happens next in the heavyweight division for Moses Itauma? For everybody else, the world is watching, so I guess we'll find out.